Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Wirex Crypto Podcast. I'm your host, Lianna. I'm very happy to introduce our guest for today, Artem Dubinin, founder of Mighty. Welcome, Art.
Nice to meet you, Lianna, and very happy to have this podcast. Thank you for this invitation. Yeah.
Thank you. Today, we're breaking down the Learn-to-Earn approach and how it stacks up against PlaytoEarn. We'll also cover gamification in education, the future of online learning, and the potential of new technologies like AI. But before we start, Art, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, sure. So this can be like a bit long because I've done a lot of things that are not related to each other from the first side. But actually, when we'll go back to like the end of the sentence, you can see that first of all, like crypto aligns many different categories together, like economics with distributed system and computer science. So like this kind of thing, the combination of different expertises is very important in crypto. And like, this is how my way have been going through actually. So I've been starting as a professional gamer actually when I was younger, back at like, I was like 15, 14, 16 years old. And I used to play MMORPGs a lot. And like to the point where I was earning real like life wage at these games by playing like 10 hours a day or something like this. And this is like where some of the experiences I had with crypto, like these experiences within the games really helped me to understand what's going on. So like for example, I knew what the market is before actually seeing the actual market because I've seen the markets inside the game. And there is like literally the same things you can do. You can buy, sell, you have like tokens, but like gold, et cetera. And it kind of was very useful in a way. So, and then I moved to actually educational side of things. So when I was 18, I started doing a lot of personal tuition and coursework help. So I have done a really well money-wise in this sector as well. But it was something that was not scalable. So I was doing things by my own, but I wanted to do something larger and something that was really like built to scale. And this is where I came across crypto. It was around 2017, beginning of the year. And I discovered Bitcoin and like the other tokens as well. So I started going down into that rabbit hole. Like it was years before I could say that I actually understand everything. But like the first 2 years, let's say, just was spent on fully learning about this technology and like in what ways can we use it and how can I actually introduce myself into this industry as well. And after a few years in the industry, I've decided that I want to create my own fund to invest in these things. And this is what I did. And this continued until 2021 when I've closed it at the end of the year and opened Mighty with some of the success that we had with this fund. I had some funds to start a new business, the one that I was really passionate about from the beginning, from my early days when I was a gamer. So I wanted to combine education with gamification. And here we are.
And we have the mighty Art. And I think like when we think about our backgrounds, right? Sometimes even though it's not fully connected, somehow those are just building blocks, right? And I guess like, it's like in education as well, everything is a building block and a learning block. So what's the difference between the learn and earn model and the play to earn approach we've seen before? How is the learn and earn changing the game?
I want to touch on one thing about like doing many things. Like I remember like a few examples of like people who were excelling really a lot in what they do, but they did a lot of different stuff as well on the side. So like, for example, Thomas Jefferson, he wrote he made America what it is today, basically, one of the founding fathers. And while doing it, he actually invented like a specified chair or something like this. So like he was like very into like building chairs or something like that. And so like a lot of people can be multivariate. And coming back to the question about learn to earn, and how is it changed from play to earn, it's actually a very deep question. And I think we should start by like going into theory of how it all works out, like on the fundamental level at like from the human standpoint. So whenever you are playing like a usual game, right, your motivation can be described as intrinsic. So what I mean by that is that you play the game because you want to play it. You enjoyed the whole process of playing the game. So like literally dopamine is released in your brain whenever you click on the actions whatsoever. And on the other side, the motivation can also be, apart from intrinsic, it can also be extrinsic. So the extrinsic motivation is people being motivated by money or some extrinsic factors, basically. And these two types of motivations are very important to be understood. So play to earn model is very dependent on extrinsic motivation. So, and that would mean that players, they play the games because they bring them money. And there is not much of actual genuine interest in the games itself. And we can see that on all of the charts, whenever there is a token generation event, everyone sells and everyone leaves the game. Like 90% of the players, they just leave the game and sell their tokens. And there is like very rare occurrences where this doesn't happen. I don't even remember any like that rare. So what the shift from play to earn to learn and earn signifies is we want to transfer the extrinsic motivation to be intrinsic. So we want users to actually care about the actual studying aspect, and we want them to come to the website because they want to study, not because they want to make money. And this is the prerequisite for long-term, genuine, effective engagement with the user, we believe. Yep.
Yeah. It's, in a way, you're acquiring wealth, right? And it's the wealth of knowledge, instead of the wealth of in terms of monetary gains or whatever. And why do you think gamification is important for education today? Can you give us some examples of how you use gamification on Mighty?
Yeah, sure. So I would love to separate this question onto two parts. So the first question is where is gamification? Why is it important? And to prove that it's important, I'm actually just going to say all the things in life that are gamified that we use on the day-to-day basis. So let's say you are born a child, right? You go to the kindergarten. You are assigned some smiles and points in there. So this is gamification on the most basic level. Then you go to school. You are assigned grades, obviously. So from E to A. This is also gamification because it assigns you a score. Also, they can use some bonuses in schools, in modern schools as well. When you finish the school, you are granted a diploma, and the diploma always has to look very beautiful, right? It has to be very official, and it has to be I don't know, I don't use my diploma at all. I've never showed it to anyone, but it's very beautiful, So this is also gamification. Then when you go to after you finish the school, university, you go to a workplace, and then you have bonuses on workplace. So you have maybe a leave for an extra few days of holidays if you work good. It depends on the workplace, obviously, but here is all the little gamification stuff as well. I love to say that something like pension is also gamification, but with Ponzi elements to it. And a lot of stuff.
You brought back some really memories of getting gold stars or black stars.
Yes. Yeah. So it's literally everywhere in all of our lives. And the reason why it's everywhere, because when you attach it in some right places in the right way, it will actually inevitably boost the productivity and effectiveness of whatever you are doing at the current moment. So this is like one of the bases of it. Like, why is it everywhere? Because we as human beings, we love to game, and we don't love to when everything is like structured as like a super routine work. We don't love that, like inherently at our brain level, like, right? In terms of like, how do we use gamification on Mighty? I want to start with like the most like basic point is that like EXP systems, so like point systems that we actually have right now popping inside the NFT space, inside the Web3 space, they have actually been here forever. So like if you go to any educational website right now, whether it's like Khan Academy or Coursera or something like this, they will have points. They will have points, but these points are useless. Like you cannot actually do much in many websites with these points. And the reason why they have points, even though they are useful or useless, is because they work. Useless points that cannot be used anywhere. They just work on its own because people see the points and they just feel the release of dopamine. That's it. Like it works. And what we take things further. So in Mighty. So what we do is we also make these points exchangeable for different rewards, and we make these rewards not only expressed in dollar terms, because this is something we don't want to do actually, because this will bring extrinsic motivation to the table, but we really want people to be interested in learning first. So this is why we make it exchangeable for different Steam games, for example, or different small NFTs or consumables or some little stuff, which makes learning a bit more interesting, but it will not burn you out with giving you a lot of money and then stopping giving it to you, so that your motivation will go super down because of that. And this is a very, very delicate balance of how we do it. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's really fascinating because, in the Web3 space as well, like you see a lot of communities having these different quests, right? And as you said, life is like a game, right? The game of life, as they say. But how do you keep users focused on learning, and not just on earning rewards? Is it a challenge to balance these two aspects? Because, for example, for me, right, like these quests and everything, they, after a while, when the novelty kind of wears off and life happens, you don't have time for these quests anymore, right? So how do you keep them focused on learning?
So like in general, our model can be said as to be like a combined model of Zeli or Galaxy or something like this, and education. So what we quest to earn, we turn it to learn and earn in this case. So like instead of doing just usual tasks and earning money for it, which is like orientation and focus on earning, we actually place the focus on learning. And it turns out that the auditory that you get for your project is totally different. So like the target itself is different. So like if you are looking to bring any farmers, for example, from these popular websites that are doing questing, you are not going to succeed in that. Like, because they will immediately see that you don't give out so much money than the other questing platforms, and they will move to the other questing platforms. But the point is that you don't actually want this type of customers, because some of them are like people who just do quests because it's fun and they want to learn about something. But most of them, they just come there to earn money, and this is a very important point. So when we actually like have thought about like how do we implement this into Mighty Study, so the first thing that we actually came about is that we cannot advertise large prizes at all, because this will screw up the incentives of the like. One of the reasons why Web2 people hate Web3 gaming is because of this exact thing, because they say that there is too much emphasis on earning, and this is why mass adoption cannot come, because not all people are interested in only earning, but actually they're interested in activities themselves, and there is not much businesses that are focused on this part. We also have found a way to introduce larger rewards, but in the way that is not messing up the motivation for the user. So we have something called treasure chests, where there is a little chance for the user to earn some very large reward, like a large NFT that is costing like thousands of dollars. But there is a very little chance to do it. And there is no promised rewards, which is very important. So this is how we fine-tune the gamification so that it works for people who want to learn and not earn.
Yeah, you kind of make me think about a point, which is, bragging rights, right? When people are on top of the leaderboard, it earns them the bragging rights, oh, I'm on the top or whatever. And it makes me think about status as well, in life, right? What trends do you think will shape the future of online education platforms like Mighty? How do you think these trends will affect how people learn?
Oh, yeah. So, okay, I would go, this will be twofold answer. So the first answer is I really see a lot of potential in the new models arising from Web3. So some of the new in Web2, we had a lot of very well-established models that work really well, whether it's for education or gaming or something else. But Web3 starts to experiment with these models. And of course, we have had a lot of years of experimentation, and our industry gets a bad rep for all of the lazy stuff, I would say, that is coming in from there. But actual products are being built, and actual new models of value capture and revenue share are coming into play. So right now, we can, with blockchains and value flows that we organize, we can actually make semi-decentralized revenue share models that share the revenue automatically within some stakeholders within the system. And this type of things, they are very heavily regulated, and there is a lot of paperwork to be done in many jurisdictions. But with blockchain, once you set up the system like that, you can actually just do it because the smart contract is there and it works. And it doesn't have to be like millions of contracts, doesn't have to be written, and it's just easier on you. And the other is very important stuff is value capture models apart from revenue sharing. So what I mean by value capture models is that, let's say before we used to have learning platforms that are that have premium subscription, for example. And let's say in the platform you have to you can study something 3 lessons with a free subscription, and then you have to pay. So this type of model is very viable in Web2, and it's very popular in Web2. But at the same time, it kind of limits limits some of the things that user can do for free. Obviously, for the reason of monetization, because they want to earn money from the user. But there are also other ways to do things that don't limit the user. So we can make the user all the user experiences free, and we can monetize on the B2B end. And models like Galaxy and Zelly, they help to work this out actually, and they help with overcoming the limitations of having to block some functionalities for the end user. So now there is no barriers for the end user to enter the platform, and it's totally free for him. But we monetize on the B2B side, and this is how the value gets captured in a way that is more scalable than Web2. So this is what Web3 models can bring. And the second part, apart from models, is obviously AI is one of the big trends. And there will be a lot of ways we can touch on this if you want, but because it's going to be a long rant. Yeah,
let's unpack that a little bit, because I think AI is going to, dominate the market, right? So let's unpack AI a little bit if you like.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, so a lot of we are actually implementing right now an AI inside Mighty in many different ways. So one of the low-hanging fruits that all of the businesses, whether it's like all of the learn businesses and gaming businesses and many businesses in Web3 can benefit from is scaling content and scaling low-tier code as well, and scaling gaming assets as well. So we can mass produce a lot of different things right now, like 100 times cheaper and faster than it was before. Like when it was 1 year ago, actually. Like I put up a tweet 2 days ago. It's like the tweet was like wrote 6,000 page terms and conditions in 1 day with Claude. Just entered all the information. Like before, it could take like a month with like all the lawyers around you and all of the things. Now you just write the entire document and just give it to the lawyer so that he can proofread. And he actually said it's all correct. Very like it used to cost thousands of dollars. The document was 600 words, so 6,000 words. So it was like a huge document. If the lawyer would have written it from scratch, it was custom also, so it was not something like pre-done. And if the lawyer would have done it, it would be like at least $3,000. And it costed nothing. And it was checked by an actual lawyer, was a friend of mine. Yeah, like all of this can be extrapolated onto creating content, educational content. It all can be extrapolated to creating videos and text and content for social media. It can also be used in writing code, but not high-level code, unfortunately. Only like medium to low-level code. But it's the high-level code only needed in like high-tech, like DeFi applications or something like this to make sure that you don't have bugs or something. And the code is very well optimized. But in the rest, it's very useful at this moment, and it scales things 100x in some cases. And whoever is not using AI at this moment,
you're going to lose out.
Yeah.
But you know, with AI as well, right? Like educating people about AI is also really important. You know, not just using AI, right? And it's, you know, teaching people how to use AI properly and, you know, and also the ethics behind how we use AI, you know. But I wanted to circle back to something that you mentioned earlier on, which was, you know, making it free for the users, but and having the B2B pay for it, you know. And I think that's really important for accessibility, right? Yeah. You know, because there are so many people out there that do not have the funds, you know, do not have the technical know-how to do certain things. And this is why education is just so important and more important in this space and time, right? Also because, you know, as we go through the next generation, they are wired differently, you know, and I find that it's really interesting how you are also, in a way, tracking that and creating new models to fit that. And so as more platforms enter the Web3 ed tech space, how do you plan to stand out and avoid getting lost in the crowd market, you know, and what strategies are you using to maintain your competitive edge? It's becoming increasingly crowded. So, you know, yeah, it'd be interesting to hear your insights on this.
Yeah, actually, like some of the features that we have implemented. So like the platform is live for 6-7 months, something like this. And some of the features we have implemented have already been copied by other platforms. But I really like it. Like I don't want to say anything bad about it because first of all, it's a form of flattery if someone copies your feature. Second of all, it means that the like some of the competitors that we have, the ideas are not that original, but they might, of course, come up with original ones. They are, I'm sure, they're smart and very professional ones. And I would say that one of the ways we cope with this, is we try to not talk about our next features that much and we try to, like when we do announcements, for example, for the next features in our next update, we try to hide some of the features because we don't want to reveal too much about it to our competitors, for example, because some of the stuff we do is very experimental. And when we make assumption, it might work out in the end or not. So because it has not literally been tried before. I can talk to people about how many books I've read about gamification and so on, but it's not going to work unless you try it in practice, because it's all books after all. And like we don't, for some of these features, we do not have cases of it working in one way or the other. And it's very important to test those. And it's very important to be careful with those because they might end up being detrimental to your app. But in the position that we are in right now in this nascent industry, because this part of educational industry, like let's call it gamified education industry or something like this, I can see so much potential into how the businesses progress. We can if you look at the internal Mighty discussions where we have features that we want to implement inside Mighty, we have lists of 20 features and we choose which features we want to include because there is so many fresh ideas in this space. It's literally crazy. And what we can do right now with blockchains is actually before blockchains, we couldn't do it because it was a problem with scaling. I can go onto the basic level of what problem was solved by the blockchain if you want. And how do we solve this incentivization for education by using blockchain and why it cannot be solved without blockchain. If you want, I can go deep into that yet.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so
let's unpack this.
So on the most basic level, before something like Mighty was not possible without the blockchain, because something like the idea of giving rewards to students is not, I'm sure someone came up with it, right? A lot of people probably came up with it before us, even before internet, I guess. And somehow nobody did it until Mighty was the first business that put blockchain rewards onto this. We started to do it. One of the first, when we started doing it, nobody was there. Yeah, and we started doing it in the beginning of 2022. And what we figured out is that nobody could do it before 2022 because there was no feasible way to scale the rewards from different B2B partners that you partner with. So let's imagine you have a learning platform, you want to place 100 rewards from different partners onto your platform. So what you have to do right now to do it technically is you have to go to all of your partners, right? And you have to ask each partner to write an API for you to be able to control some items from their database. And this is a no-go because for each partner, they have to write an API for you, which is 50 plus hours of work for each partner. So each partner you connect, it's 50 hours of work. For devs, tens of thousands of dollars, weeks and weeks of work, etc., etc. And they will not let you use your own API for it because everyone wants to control their own assets. And this is the fundamental problem of this. And with blockchain, what you can do is you can place all the assets onto this shared medium database, which everyone trusts from their own point of view. And now we don't have to connect to each partner individually. We can just connect to blockchain, all of us at the same time. And then we use this shared database. And instead of connecting to each partner for 50 hours of dev time, you connect to blockchain once. And it's 20, 30 hours of blockchain time, and then you're set for life. So this is what is a 100x improvement in this particular use case that blockchain gave us. And this is why it's now feasible to have incentivized learning with rewards in the way that I've described, and why it was not possible before. without blockchain. Yeah.
Yeah, and so with blockchain as well, could blockchain-based certificates replace traditional degrees in the future? And how do you see the future of educational credentials?
So it's a very interesting question. I would say that actually it will not be fully on-chain. So there is something called Ethereum Attestation Service. And these guys have been working for a few years now, have been very popular in Ethereum and the Optimism ecosystems. So what these guys do is they do attestations, and they do it on Ethereum and layer 2s. So what attestations are is that on the most fundamental level, they interact with blockchain, but they can also be off-chain if you want them to be. Because blockchain is not private by default without ZKs, and it's just easier to do it off-chain for some private stuff. What attestations are is that basically I can, for example, attest that Lianna is a very great interviewer, and then onto Lianna's personal profile or ID, it's going to be said that Artem has attested that Lianna is a great interviewer. And then let's say, let's extrapolate it onto Mighty Study. So Mighty Study can be an attestator, and Mighty Study can attest that the user has completed the HTML course. And what this Ethereum attestation service gives you is that all of these attestations, whatever you have for your website, whether it's like certificates, achievements, or just endorsements from other people, or it can be anything, like a lot of stuff. This stuff is now interoperable, which is very important because it's on this shared medium, as I've described in the previous rant. Like they're on the, like they're not kind of on blockchain, but they can be accessed through the blockchain as well. And this allows everyone to see what any particular account has in terms of credentials. So now if I want to go and get, let's say, credit from the bank, I can literally show my certificates from Mighty Study on the blockchain and say like, hey guys, I'm educated guy. I'll be able to pay out the loans that I've taken from you, and so on and so forth. So like we are very bullish on it actually, and we're very bullish on digitizing all of the credentials, whether it's on-chain or off-chain, private or public. Very bullish on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So in a way, if like just listening to you describe it, so it sounds like verification, like it's a way of verifying, right? Your credentials, and also I think it's really interesting because there are a lot of job seekers out there who add in a couple of degrees that are phantom, basically, right? And there's no way to verify it some of the times, right? And I think this is such a great way to really verify that people do have the degrees or the credentials that they say they have, right? And in the context of Web3, how can Learn-to-Earn platforms ensure inclusivity, particularly for users from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds who, may not have equal access to digital education?
Yeah. Let me just come back onto the last point, like very quickly. Actually, very interestingly, blockchain doesn't always protect you from unverified stuff. So let's say anyone can, because like blockchain is an open system, right? And anyone can endorse potentially anyone. And then it doesn't mean that this endorsement is like valid or coming from someone with a reputation, right? It can be just spammed or something. And here is where the reputation systems, they come into play. So it would really, like this stuff is actually very fascinating onto what we built, like in terms of how we can credibly verify whether something is true or not. But blockchain by default doesn't bring you this functionality, unfortunately, but with some tweaks, like let's say we have attestation services on blockchain. The person who has many attestations from verified things, let's say we start with like one person who is very, very trustworthy, right? And it starts centralized, but at some point it gets decentralized. So this person, let's say we hire Elon Musk to endorse people because everyone trusts Elon Musk, et cetera, et cetera. So Elon Musk endorses like 5 people, right? And all of these people right now, they're very trusted as well. So each of these 5 people, they endorse 5 people, and it goes so forth, so on and so forth. So like now we have a web of people endorsing each other, and if credible people endorse the other people, the other person, if many credible people endorse this person, then he becomes credible as well. So this is how it works. And there is also a slashing mechanism attached to it. So if you were credible and then you certified some uncredible people, then you lose credibility as well. So when you get slashed, just like in Ethereum, or like when you stake Ethereum or something like this. So yeah, these guys from Ethereum attestation services, what they do is very fascinating, and I really, really am bullish on like this part of the whole ecosystem, because like it will bring so many new stuff onto like what we can do with blockchain.
Yeah, I'm really glad you kind of brought that up, because, you know, I was thinking as well, like, because you mentioned, okay, you know, maybe it's not so much verification per se, but it's the endorsement, you know, it's like testimonials on LinkedIn, for example, right? But, you know, obviously people can weaponize this in the sense where, you know, I could ask you, like, okay, can you just write me a really good testimonial, and then go to another person and say, you know, just write me a good testimonial and I'll write a really good one back to you. But it doesn't really relate the actual landscape of what you can do, right? So yeah, thank you for clarifying that and to making it, you know, it's more succinct now. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we can go back to the previous question. If I remember correctly, it was about like how do we make sure that we are inclusive, and
Yes.
yeah, so like as we actually touched on before, we have made it free to the end user, and this is like one of the from the beginning of Mighty, we wanted to keep all of the basic learning functionality free, and we actually ended up with making everything free for the end user. So we wanted to have some monetization on the user side, for example, for gamification, but we ended up not having it because the model of B2B was much more appealing to us. Yeah, we've been doing well with it. But yeah, this is what our overall goal is about. Like, how do you make education free for the end user, and how do you align all the incentives so that you as a business can support the user with new content, with high quality content? At the same time, how can you maintain your reputation as a high quality provider of content? How can you also scale this content in a way that's very efficient? How do you monetize this content as a company? Because as a company, you have to make profit to be able to survive. Of course, there is also a non-profit way, but that's a totally different story. Like, you have to raise a lot of money to do that, and it's just a totally different ball game altogether. But like in our case, what we have done, I guess, is very, very fine-tuned towards the end user. You can say the initial set of variables, like when we made these calculations and like just like when we decided what we want to do, is we wanted to do something like Khan Academy, but gamified to the core. So that the people can come in for free and get the knowledge that they require, but at the same time, they get it in the most digestible way possible. So, and these are the kind of the setups that actually win mass adoption, because what is the most popular educational platform on the in the world? It's actually YouTube.
Yep, University of YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. And it's and why is it? Because, well, it's free, first of all, and second of all, it's structured in the most digestible way and format possible, which is videos. And videos are always evolving to be more and more like smooth, and like they have all of this now Gen Z type of like how's it called, like attention spam. Like you make people attentive on certain points as well, and like a lot of different stuff, and you gamify it as well.
Yeah, it's the whole attention economy, right? And yeah, I think, it's really fascinating because, people also learn differently, right? Some people prefer to watch videos, some people prefer to read, and some people prefer to listen, or, make pie charts or flow charts, whatever. And I think this landscape is shifting so much that it's really truly exciting to to watch and also to learn, right? Puns intended. I know we talked about AI a little bit earlier on, but do you think is there anything else on AI that you want to expand upon, that plays a role in improving the learning experience?
Yeah. So, I can. You actually, like, so the first one I've mentioned already is like scaling content, scaling game assets. And the second part, I guess, is that there is, so like, as you said in this question, we actually digest information in many different ways, and some people are better in one way or the other. So let's get into three main ones. So like, some people like to listen, some people like to read, some people like to watch, which is combination of both. And what we have done in Mighty is we have done, what our main goal is that we wanted to provide as many tools as possible for different businesses to upload their own content, whichever content it is. So whether it's videos, whether it's text, or anything else like pictures, drawing boards, code editors, interactive quizzes, like a lot of different stuff. And it's less of our function to decide what the content does, but more to provide all of the functions so that the business partners can fine-tune it to some of their auditories, or potentially to all of them, because in our system, in the way we structure it, everything is possible to, like, it is totally possible to have like a video, and below the video there is going to be a text that is going to repeat the main points from the video, and then below that it's possible to have a code editor, which you can also run and see how the code actually runs, if it's a code, and below that you can have a test. So you can structure it in many ways. We use AI in this case as well in text to actually get a text-to-speech. So we actually, right now on the website, the text-to-speech version is not fine-tuned, so it's not like that good. It was like from the previous generation of AIs. Right now we have a new one, and we are going to update it. So whenever you click on play, even if it's text, we are going to be able to spell it out loud for you. And this also has, like, we have a lot of studies on how it improves the retention amongst certain groups of people. So the ones, so like reading and listening at the same time is the holy grail, like video. But we can make people upload video to Mighty Study, or we can make them upload text and then just text to speech that text so that people listen and read at the same time. And we also show where they are currently, like at which word they are currently at the moment. So this is some fine, really cool ways in how like AI can help you, like to digest information in better ways as well. And actually another way is like we ask AI to audit the many parts of the content not from the standpoint of content itself, but from the standpoint of digestibility of the content. So this is actually very important as well. So like you can structure content in many, many different ways, and kind of like copywriting, but copywriting is a bit different than that. I would say it's more like methodological content structuring or something like this. So this is the other way. Yeah.
And almost in a way, it's like a format restructuring, right? Deconstructing like the learning experience. And I love the fact that you have text to speech, right? Because, what if you are a user with visual disabilities, right? So, that doesn't stop you from learning because there's text to speech, you can still learn through listening. So I'm really impressed by that. And also, what do you think the next major innovation or killer app in Web3 will look like? And what features or technologies do you think will drive this trend?
Mm-hmm. So to this question, I would say that Web3 industry gets a bit of a bad rap, like crypto Web3, and it is for a reason. That incentives are kind of a bit screwed up in this space in a way that people are less incentivized to build actual products or solving actual problems. Instead, because in bull markets, especially, making money by creating your own token and just dispersing it is too easy. Well, at least it was in previous cycles. I don't know about this one. So it was too easy to build, like just get a token out and then people will buy it and then just promote it. Like, why would you need to have a product, right? If you can just sell the dreams, right? And then when actual product comes out, all of the tokens go down in price because they just didn't deliver. But now I see like a new wave of founders that actually do things right. So like, for example, Mighty doesn't have a token, doesn't have NFTs, like on its own. Of course, business can upload NFTs onto Mighty, but Mighty doesn't have it. We might have it in a way that is not messing up extrinsic motivation. So like without price tags, please. But we don't. And businesses right now we see a lot of businesses that do not have any token, do not have any kind of monetization, pre-market fit monetization, let's say, and they just try to solve a problem, which is a right way to do it. So like before, even in this bear market, like in the previous bear market, a lot of people from the NFT sphere, they just didn't talk about solving problems. They were like, "Oh, community." I'm like, "Oh, yeah. So what?" Like, and
yeah, community.
Yeah, like, and I was like, honestly, like a bit pissed because it was like the whole talk was about community. I mean, yeah, it works, gets you community, but why? Again, because of extrinsic motivation. And then when it runs out, there is no community. So right now, I see a lot of like different guys try to make things right, try to make products. A lot of my competitors try to make products, and they try to come up with something like new models. And this is what I think we should be betting on. Like, I think that the time to play games is over, and the time to get real apps with real use cases is here. And one of the killer apps is going to be the app that is actually focused on solving something, and not the app that is focused on getting the tokens out. So that's why I like Virix, because Virix is very focused on like their end goal, which is like getting the cards out and like ensuring that the operations of the cards is smooth. And it's actually a superior product. Like me living in Eastern Europe, the banking access is not perfect, and it's just superior way for me to get the money out and spend them in shops. And this is why I like businesses like Virix. So like I would say like Virix is a killer app. Mighty
Thanks
is
for
a
that.
killer app. Mighty might be a killer app too.
Well, Mighty is a mighty app.
Oh yeah, sure. on the category of its own.
No, I really love what you say, and also you're right, about the incentives, because I think at the moment we're also seeing a fatigue, right? In the way people are incentivized to participate, even, because like I feel like that there are a lot of, for example, DAOs or whatever, to incentivize people to participate and to keep it going is pretty difficult. And, and people have tried to gamify it before as well, but it hasn't really worked. And I think, finding that sweet spot for incentivification is so important. And I think, I really love your philosophy, on how you incentivize learning and also thinking about the users, right? Because at the end of the day, that's the ethos of Web3, to ensure that everyone has access to, their sovereignty, education and collaboration and just having, just leveling the playing field for people. So yeah, I'm really, really impressed and I really resonate with a lot of what you have said. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I guess like just a little plug-in. If you're a business and you would like to educate your user better, text me. Yeah, you can reach out on X platform to Mighty_study or Artem_Mighty. Would love to answer any questions. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And yeah, to everyone else, if you want to be mighty, get on Mighty.
All right.
Thank you so much. It was great having you on the podcast. Your perspective on, LearntoEarn and the future of education was really insightful. And we really appreciate you making the time to share your thoughts.
Thank you so much. It was great. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for all the listeners too, for keeping up for 1 hour of this treat.
The mighty art speaks.
Yeah, it was lovely. I really like this topic, honestly. Like, I enjoy every second of it, yeah.
Thank you so much. And to all our fantastic listeners, I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. Don't forget to express your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing this episode. Thank you for tuning in, and until we meet again, stay well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.